In the shadows of HMP Wandsworth, behind bars meant to contain chaos, a child's skull cracked. This isn't just a story of prison violence. It's a story of sex, betrayal, and an institution that forgot who needed protecting most. March 2023. Martin Wyrick, inmate. Mid-30s. Serving time in one of Britain's toughest prisons. Known inside as confident, charismatic, dangerous, but soon, known around the world for something else. Enter Linda D'Souza Abu. Prison guard. Married. Career woman. Fell into what the press called a forbidden affair. But inside prison walls, nothing is private. Not for long. Linda and Wyrick were caught having sex. Not once. Repeatedly. Her husband? Devastated. The prison? Humiliated. Linda? Sentenced to 15 months. Wyrick? Stayed locked up, but suddenly wasn't just an inmate anymore. He was a target. The story went viral. Fast. Twitter exploded. TikTok users reenacted their affair. Podcasters called it Shawshank with a twist. But while the world laughed, inside Wandsworth, things turned dark. Whispers grew. Other inmates hated him. Some were jealous. Some were furious that he made them all look like clowns. Some just wanted blood. Then came the visit. It was supposed to be a family day. His daughter, just 5 years old, was allowed in under supervised contact. She'd barely seen her dad outside of plexiglass. And despite everything, she still loved him. He picked her up. Hugged her. It was supposed to be safe. Then it happened. A man launched at Wyrick from behind. Fist. Elbow. Chaos. He fell. On his daughter. Directly on her head. Screams filled the visitor room. Guards scrambled in. Wyrick was bleeding from his face. But his daughter, she wasn't moving. Doctors later confirmed, a fractured skull. Hospitalized. Tiny body. Tubes. CT scans. No one knew if she'd suffer permanent damage. And still, no answers. Who attacked him? Why then, in front of his child? And how did anyone get close enough? The official report claimed unprovoked inmate assault. Open and shut. But something didn't add up. Why were family visits happening without tighter supervision after a scandal? Why wasn't Wyrick under protection, or at least segregation? And who was this attacker, really? Insiders began to talk. Not for the press. Not on the record. But whispers leaked. It wasn't random. It wasn't just another inmate. And then, one guard made a chilling offhand comment. Maybe someone wanted him to suffer the way he made others suffer. 3 theories began to surface. 1. The jealous inmate theory. Other prisoners resent Wyrick's notoriety. In prison, fame is danger. The attacker may have been promised protection or favors. A hit. Clean. Fast. But that theory raises a question. Why during a child's visit? Most inmates won't touch a kid. Even murderers draw the line. So. 2. The husband theory. Linda's husband. Destroyed. Humiliated. Police reports say he refused to speak during the investigation. One source claimed he had connections inside the prison. Could he have orchestrated it? And if he did, was the daughter being hurt part of the plan? Or just collateral? That's when Theory 3 entered the picture. 3. The institutional theory. The prison itself. Too many leaks. Too much shame. They needed the story to go away. Wyrick had become a liability. What if someone in the system wanted him silenced? Not dead. Just broken. Stripped of any sympathy. And what better way than to make the public blame him for his daughter's injury? It worked. Online sentiment flipped. He got what he deserved. Shouldn't have brought a kid into that mess. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. People forgot she was 5. Forgot she didn't choose to be there. Forgot she was innocent. Instead, the child became a footnote in a viral tragedy. Weeks later, a confidential memo leaked. An internal disciplinary file. Date, 2 weeks before the attack. Subject, visitor room security protocol. It warned of heightened tension surrounding inmate L. Wyrick, and recommended temporary suspension of family visits. That warning? Ignored. No explanation. No follow-up. No accountability. But one line stood out. Failure to act may result in irreparable consequences. It did. A former corrections officer, we'll call him Mark, came forward anonymously. He worked at Wandsworth. He knew Linda. He knew Wyrick. And he saw it coming. I told my supervisor this wasn't over. That someone was going to take revenge. I even said, don't let him near his kid until we know it's safe. But they laughed me off. Said I was paranoid. Said it wasn't our problem anymore. It became everyone's problem. According to leaked documents, the inmate who attacked Wyrick had only been transferred in 48 hours earlier. From another facility. No known beef. No prior altercations. But guess where he was previously incarcerated? The same prison as Linda's husband. And here's the kicker. That attacker? He hasn't been charged. No assault charges. No time added. Just quietly moved. Again. Why? No one's talking. Not the prison. Not the ministry. Not even the lawyers. What if this wasn't just a fight? What if the system designed to contain violence created it? We traced the back-channel deals, the buried complaints, and the one piece of evidence that could blow the whole thing open. Because someone knew what was coming. And they let it happen anyway. Was it revenge? Was it negligence? Or was it something far darker? This is the story that made headlines for all the wrong reasons. But what if the real scandal wasn't the one everyone saw? July 17, 2023. Correctional Officer Rachel LeMay, 32, walks into the visitation room of the Barrow Creek Correctional Facility. She's calm. Professional. But what happens next would turn her into the epicenter of a prison sex scandal, and a viral video so disturbing, it would make even hardened viewers recoil. Across the room, inmate number 48720, Marcus Wyrick, is kneeling, hugging his 5-year-old daughter. She's tiny in his arms. She's smiling. Seconds later, he's being stomped unconscious. At first, the story seems simple. Tabloid bait. Guard sleeps with inmate. Gets exposed. Then the beatdown. Prison chaos. But scratch beneath the surface, and it stops being simple. It becomes sinister. Because this wasn't just about a salacious relationship. This was about institutional negligence. About the kind of system failure that doesn't just punish the guilty, it crushes the innocent. Investigators would later uncover 3 separate internal complaints against Officer LeMay. Not 1, 3. Inmate manipulation. Excessive time in cell block D, unexplained shifts in Wyrick's privileges. She'd authorized extra phone time. Whispered conversations in surveillance dead zones. Once, even entered his cell, alone. Each time, supervisors issued soft warnings. Keep it professional. Watch your boundaries. Nothing stuck. And the reason why? LeMay's husband was the sergeant on shift. Yeah, that's right. Sergeant Michael LeMay. Her superior. The one signing off on her incident reports. Conflict of interest? Investigators called it untenable. But at the time, it was ignored. The footage spread like wildfire. A family visitation session. Children playing. Mothers crying. Fathers trying to reconnect. Then, a blur of motion. 3 inmates rush Wyrick from behind. One slams him into a table. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story shocked you, like and subscribe to True Crime Series for more cases that expose the darkest corners of human nature. Another kicks him in the ribs. A third, bigger than the rest, stomps directly on his back, where his daughter is clinging. The child is crushed between concrete and bone. You don't see blood. You hear screams. And a voice, someone in the background, shrieking. The kid's still on him. The clip ended there. But the questions? Only just beginning. Why were rival inmates allowed in the same visit space, unsupervised? Why was Wyrick seated without a corrections officer nearby? Why weren't the attackers searched, or separated, given their known affiliations? And where was Officer LeMay? Turns out, she'd signed herself out 10 minutes before. Why? She told investigators she had a migraine. But her security badge tells another story. She used her keycard on the south corridor, the one that leads to the surveillance blind spot, the exact place where the attack was planned. Her name is Ava. 5 years old. She loved horses. Purple jelly shoes. Anything sparkly. She didn't care what her dad had done. Didn't even understand what prison meant. All she knew was that she could see him once a month. Sit on his lap. Color with him. Listen to his voice. That day, she'd drawn a unicorn. She never finished it. When the attack started, she didn't run. She clung to him. Screaming. Holding on while boots pounded his back. That's when her skull fractured. It wasn't just a scandal anymore. It was a family tragedy. Ava Wyrick was airlifted to a children's trauma unit. Her injuries? Subdural hematoma, 2 fractured ribs, a partially collapsed lung, and long-term neurological trauma doctors still haven't fully mapped. She's alive, but not the same. Her mother told local reporters. She wakes up screaming. She won't let anyone touch her back. And she keeps asking why daddy didn't move. As blame ricocheted, 2 theories emerged. Theory 1, jealous inmates. That Wyrick was targeted by fellow prisoners jealous of his relationship with LeMay. A power play. Classic prison dynamics. Theory 2, rage-fueled revenge. That Michael LeMay, the husband, knew about the affair and allowed the attack to happen as personal retribution. But there's a darker third theory. One investigators quietly flagged in internal memos. System failure theory. That nobody planned the attack. Not intentionally, but negligence, the blind eye, the skipped checks, the ignored warnings, created the perfect storm. No one had to pull the trigger, because the system already lit the fuse. Within 24 hours, the headlines were everywhere. Sex scandal rocks prison. Guard's affair with convicted felon exposed. Love-struck guard ruins career. But where was the coverage about Ava? Barely a whisper. The media devoured the affair. Memes, TikToks, prison wife parodies. But the child? Silenced. Sanitized. Because there's no punchline in a 5-year-old's head injury. Barrow Creek went into lockdown. They released a 42-second statement. This was an isolated incident resulting from individual misconduct, not reflective of our institution as a whole. But internal emails told a different story. One warden wrote, "If this hits DOJ or media start digging into previous complaints, we're F*******ed. Staff turnover spiked. 3 officers quit. LeMay was suspended. Her husband? Transferred. Not fired. No criminal charges. No accountability." 2 months after the incident, a whistleblower stepped forward. An anonymous nurse, who'd worked the infirmary. She claimed she saw Wyrick with bruises weeks before the attack. That he told her, quote, "They're gonna make it look like a brawl, but it's about her." When asked who they were, he whispered, "You know who? He's wearing the stripes." He meant Michael LeMay. And suddenly, everything snapped into place. A secret burner phone. Found in Wyrick's cell, hidden behind a loose vent. Inside, texts, screenshots, voice memos, including one chilling audio clip. Wyrick's voice, breathless. "If I end up in the infirmary or worse, it wasn't random. It's a setup. And I want people to know the truth. I want Ava safe." Then static. End of message. Turns out, there may have been a list. A network of staff trafficking contraband and bodies. Ava's injury was never supposed to happen. But once it did, some people panicked. Others? Erased the footage. And what about LeMay? She didn't just vanish. She was found in another state, with a new name, working private security. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Because next episode? We go deeper into the cover-up. Ava's trauma. And the whistleblower who disappeared just days after the burner phone was found. Justice failed. The system cracked. And someone made sure the truth stayed buried. But what happens when the wrong person finally talks? Stay tuned. They said it was just a fight. An inmate beef gone bad. But now we know, it wasn't just about him. It was about her. His daughter. A 5-year-old girl caught in the middle of prison politics, adult lust, and institutional blindness. And she paid the highest price. The viral video showed us the hit. But not the aftermath. Until now. A new document leaked to the press confirms what many feared but couldn't prove. During the attack that left inmate Brandon Wyrick blooded and unconscious, his daughter suffered a fractured skull. Not just bruised. Not just frightened. Fractured. Skull. Let that sink in. Let's be clear. Brandon Wyrick wasn't just an inmate. He was a father. And that little girl? She came to visit her dad. She wore her favorite sparkly shoes. She brought a drawing. And she left in an ambulance. Witnesses say the first punch knocked Wyrick off his chair. He was holding his daughter when he fell. Her head struck the edge of the table on the way down. Then the floor. Twice. And what did prison staff do? Not enough. Not fast enough. Not human enough. Minor head trauma, no immediate signs of distress. Father unresponsive, child quiet but alert. Medical observed no cause for alarm. No cause for alarm? Days later, the girl was vomiting. Disoriented. A pediatric ER in Pulaski County finally caught it. Linear skull fracture. They almost missed it. And the prison tried to bury it. Okay, let's pause. How did a 5-year-old end up in a maximum security prison visitation room with no protective protocol? How was a man under multiple threats not placed in secure visitation? And why was there one guard on duty, the same guard accused of having an affair with Wyrick? Her name is now public, Officer Melissa Harlow. Harlow was already under investigation. 2 internal reports had flagged her for unprofessional contact with inmates. Emails. Late-night logbook gaps. Even a mysterious pregnancy rumor. But none of that stopped her from working the visitation room that day. The day her alleged lover was assaulted. Coincidence? Or something more sinister? Explosion symbol. Now the theories collide. Theory number 1. Jealous inmate set it up. Maybe someone found out about Wyrick and Harlow. Maybe they didn't like how much power he suddenly had. Or maybe they wanted her back. Theory number 2. A husband's revenge. That's right. Melissa Harlow was married. To a former corrections officer. He filed for divorce the same week the viral video dropped. And here's the kicker. He used that video as evidence. Anonymous former staffer. I'm telling you, it wasn't random. That visitation assignment? Someone wanted that to go down with her on duty. Then, the twist nobody saw coming. One of the attackers, the man seen in the video landing the first punch, was moved to another facility the day after the incident. Transferred. Quietly. Not punished. Not questioned. Just gone. His name, Donnell D. Block Crittenden. Known gang affiliate. And guess what? He once shared a cell block. With Harlow's husband. So now we have a possible motive. A possible orchestrator. And a child caught in the wreckage. But the questions keep coming. Why was the visitation log tampered with? Why did security cameras cut out 17 minutes before the assault? Why was Wyrick never placed in protective custody despite 3 threats logged in the weeks prior? Because when institutions rot, people bleed. And it gets worse. An internal DOC memo, obtained by FOIA request, shows that Wyrick requested a private visit that day. But it wasn't approved. Instead, he was placed in the shared visitation room. With other inmates. Other families. No shields. No protection. And one lone guard, already compromised. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't just prison violence. This was something deeper. Deliberate. Calculated. Systemic. And it had one casualty no one accounted for. A little girl. Now dealing with trauma. A healing skull. And the haunting memory of her father falling to the floor with her in his arms. And just when we thought we'd reached the bottom, a 4th twist hits. New surveillance footage. Never released to the public. Captured from a hidden hallway cam, not tied to the official security system. It shows someone leaving the visitation room. 3 minutes before the assault. Not a visitor. Not a guard. But a prison chaplain. Blurry still frame of man in clerical collar walking down hallway. Face shadowed. What was he doing there? Why didn't he intervene? And why? Was he meeting with Melissa Harlow 2 nights later? We're not done yet. Because this story isn't just about prison. It's about power. Corruption. And the people who vanish in the cracks between. The chaplain, the cover-up, and the girl no one protected. Stay with us. We're just getting started. At first glance, it looks like a typical prison visit. A man hugs his daughter. They talk. They laugh. But watch closely. The smiles don't last. And then, he falls. Not just him. Her too. She vanishes from the frame, not from the world. But into a system that was never built to protect her. Voiceover. The video went viral. But it wasn't this version. The internet saw fists. Blood. Men dragged apart. And scandal, lots of it. But what they didn't see was the moment a 5-year-old skull hit concrete. That frame? It was cut. Edited. Censored. By whom? Prison officials say protocol. Others say cover-up. But when a child is injured in state custody, there's no excuse for silence. Alice. This wasn't just a lapse. It was a cascade. One decision after another, all bad. All avoidable. Wyrick's letter, VO, read aloud. Tell baby girl I miss her hugs. I draw her stars at night so she don't feel so far. When I get out, I'll braid her hair myself. Tell her that. Now back to the moment. CCTV, minute 14:43. Brandon Wyrick shifts in his chair. His daughter climbs into his lap. She wraps her arms around his neck. He smiles. He tries to hold on. But when the first blow comes, it's her body that takes the fall with him. Her tiny arms. Her soft head. They collapse as one. No music. Just silence. There's no hero soundtrack. No dramatic sting. Just a guard running. Too late. Just chaos. Too late. Just a child. In a place she never should have been. Prosecutor. Your Honor, this wasn't an accident of proximity. It was a failure of policy. Of judgment. Of basic, human decency. Now let's look at the facts. Timeline. Decisions. Motive. May 15th, Brandon Wyrick is moved to Visitation Block C. Despite recent threats logged from rival inmates. May 28th, staff report Officer Melissa Harlow violating contact protocols with 2 inmates. No suspension issued. June 1st, Wyrick files an informal complaint about inmate targeting, naming Donnell Crittenden. June 7th, is assigned to open visitation. Harlow is posted at the door. By 1:47 p.m., it's over. Coincidence? Or construction? Marcus? Jealousy inside isn't like outside. It don't stay petty. When an inmate gets extra favors, better food, more mail, other men take that as war. And jealousy may have had help from the outside. Harlow's ex-husband, a former officer himself, had access to staff schedules. And in divorce filings, he accused her of emotional misconduct with inmates, claiming he knew someone who could make things right. Attorney. This wasn't prison justice. It was state-enabled violence. And a 5-year-old paid for it. Sex scandal rocks Pulaski Correctional. Prison guard accused of inmate affair. Security lapse leads to viral brawl. But none mention the child. Not until weeks later. And even then, buried in footnotes. Blurred in reports. Erased from memory. Why do we care more about scandal than suffering? Why do we click for gossip, but scroll past injury? When we say inmate violence, do we imagine this? Do we imagine a child? Do we imagine ourselves? She shouldn't have brought a kid there. That's what happens in prison. They're criminals. What do you expect? But she didn't bring herself. She was 5. She was innocent. And she was hurt. While the state, and we, looked the other way. June 13th, a federal subpoena is filed. It targets not the inmates, not the guards, but the internal DOC messaging system. Turns out, someone deleted footage, purged logs, moved key personnel to other counties, and one name appears 37 times across redacted memos. Not a guard, not a warden, the chaplain. He wasn't just praying, he was pulling strings, helping guards hide, helping inmates flip, and maybe helping set the stage. He was never questioned, never named publicly, but leaked memos show the chaplain met with Wyrick just before the attack. Why? What did they discuss? And why was his access revoked the next day, with no explanation? So what's the real story here? A love triangle gone bad? A father's mistake? Or a system so broken it mistakes children for casualties? And silence for policy? One little girl went home with a broken skull. One man disappeared from custody. One chaplain vanished from records. And one question remains. If the system lets this happen in plain sight, what else is it hiding? Like, share, subscribe, and keep asking. Who protects the forgotten? When a child is hurt in state custody, the world should stop. But here, at Pulaski, it didn't. It got quieter. Brandon Wyrick was airlifted out. His daughter, unconscious. Her skull, fractured. But what happened next wasn't outrage. It was red tape, internal memos, delayed incident reports, unanswered emails. A 5-year-old nearly died on a prison floor, and officials still marked the file, routine altercation. They didn't call CPS for 4 days. 4. And no one in admin wanted to mention the kid. It was like she never existed. A report was finally filed. Pages of medical jargon. No names. Just minor female. Just blunt force trauma. Just silence. Voiceover. Was it negligence or cover-up? The difference matters. To Wyrick. To his daughter. And to the truth. So what triggered the attack? Some say it was Wyrick's favoritism from staff. Others point to jealousy. But now, new evidence paints a darker picture. June 1st, 8:47 a.m. Inmate Donnell Crittenden makes a call from Block B. The audio is crackly, but the words are clear. He's got her coming Saturday. It's go time. That same day, a second call is made to a landline in the chaplain's office. 2 minutes later, the security shift calendar is adjusted. Wyrick is moved. Who has the power to shuffle inmate placement and keep it invisible? Not inmates. Not line guards. But someone trusted. Respected. Untouchable. Former Pulaski assistant warden, name withheld. Or, if you wanted someone moved, you didn't go to command. You went to Chaplain Dima. He knew how to bury a decision inside 10 layers of policy. A 14-year DOC veteran. No criminal history. No formal complaints. But his calendar tells a different story. Round Pushpin May 30th, private meeting with Wyrick. Round Pushpin June 2nd, records redacted. Round Pushpin June 7th, OFF the grounds during the attack. Only one problem. He signed in at the time clock. Where was he really? And why did his office light stay off that entire day? Lost in this storm is a child. Let's call her Ava. That's not her real name. But it's how we'll protect her. Ava spent 3 days in the pediatric ICU. She woke up confused. Scared. Alone. She thought her dad had died. He hadn't. But something else did, her safety. Her trust in a world that promised to protect her. Ava's pediatric therapist, Dr. Kenley Moore. Dr. Moore. She blames herself. She said, I should have let go sooner. That's what she remembers. Letting go. Internal policies do allow for supervised visits. But not in unsecured contact rooms during inmate grievances. So why was she there? Let's rewind. Look at the data. 3 inmates moved without review. Guard rotations changed without a supervisor's initials. Dima's calendar wiped post-incident. But we found something else. Something no one expected. Pulaski surveillance MIC, hallway near the chaplain's wing. He'll never touch her again after Saturday. He won't be able to. The voice isn't Wyrick's. It isn't Crittenden's. It matches Chaplain Dima. He was talking to Officer Harlow. Internal Affairs investigator, name withheld. IA investigator. She was ending things with both of them. We think Dima took it personally. But not out of love, out of control. Staff testimonies later described Dima as possessive. Especially with female officers. His influence over assignment schedules was unofficial. But absolute. He couldn't hurt Harlow. Too risky. So he hurt the one she was trying to protect, the man she once loved, and his child. The plan wasn't spontaneous. It was timed. Structured. Orchestrated. And the final twist? Wyrick wasn't the target. Ava was. Harrow. By injuring the child, they knew it would dismantle Wyrick's custody claim. It would destroy his visitation rights. He becomes a danger by proxy, even if he wasn't to blame. 3 days after the assault, a fast-track custody petition was filed. By Ava's maternal grandmother. Guess who helped notarize it? Chaplain Dima. The internet raged about prison sex. They debated ethics, morality, and what she was doing with a man like that. But few asked what we were doing with a system like this. Harlow resigns amid allegations. DOC investigates internal corruption. Wyrick may face new custody hurdles. But none say, a child was hurt, and here's how we'll fix it. This isn't about who slept with whom. It's about who orchestrated violence, and who paid for it. One little girl became leverage. A pawn in an institutional game of power, pride, and policy. And when the pieces fell, no one picked her up. Final 60 seconds. Wyrick now sits in a segregation unit. No visitations. No calls. No updates on Ava's recovery. Chaplain Dima? Quietly resigned. No charges. No public statement. And Ava? She's learning to walk straight again. But the invisible scars? They'll take longer. Chaplain Dima likely coordinated the assault. Not just for revenge, but to permanently sever a father from his daughter. Ava becomes the story's heart. Her safety, the only outcome that ever mattered. When justice hides behind uniforms and bureaucracy, who really serves time? If this made you question the system, good. If it made you angry, even better. Because children don't belong in prisons. Not even in visiting rooms. And silence can never be policy. Share this story. Start the conversation. Demand accountability. This isn't over. We're not done. And neither is Ava. Like. Subscribe. Follow for more true crime stories that dig deeper. #Justice for Ava #Pulaski Files #System Orchestrated. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story shocked you, like and subscribe to True Crime Series for more cases that expose the darkest corners of human nature.